early 20th century. Dude.
This
no,
is
it was
probably
way before
wrong.
that. It was 1890.
No, it was 1900s.
It was 1917 because they had planes in World War I.
Okay. So maybe
history major.
That's not my best point. What I'm saying is, within a 50-year time span, we went from making the first human flight to landing on the moon. But yet we can barely keep NASA open.
That's why when
didn't one of them close in Florida?
I mean, they have terrible funding, and that's the problem. I mean, one fighter jet for the military right now is more money than NASA's entire running budget from their inception.
Don't even get me started.
The amount of money that NASA has gotten from the government to spend on this shit from the time that they first opened their doors to today is less than a brand new fucking F-15.
Let me tell you something about how much money we waste on the military-industrial complex.
Oh, God.
We spend so much money on the military, and granted, we need national defense, but it reaches a point of being excessive and self-supporting.
Well, we're trying to police the world at the same time.
We're trying to police the world, but the problem is, if you look at Eisenhower when he had the military-industrial complex speech at the end of his presidency, combined with Jimmy Carter's national state of malaise speech, it basically nailed our two biggest problems. We spend too much money, we're overly obsessed with the military, and we don't care. Feeding people and putting roofs over people's heads. We spend as much money on national defense as the next 10 countries combined, and the amount of needless waste, where you talk about the F-35?
Yeah.
The F-35, okay, let me tell you how much we don't need that plane. Number one, the next generation of aircraft aren't going to have pilots to begin with. And the plane that we already have for air superiority, the F-15 Eagle, do you know what its service record is? 118 kills, 0 losses. We've never lost a single one of the things in combat because there's nobody that we're going to fight that has them.
We keep building new ones.
We're not going to have conventional warfare against Russia and China because it would lead to nuclear war, and we're not going to fight any of our allies who have comparable planes.
Well, we're not going to fight them anyway because we're getting into this globalization of our culture where it's mutually assured destruction across the board.
Every dollar that's spent on defense represents a theft in a certain sense. A theft from those who are not fed, a theft from those who don't have roofs over their head. For every tank or warship that we build, it's 1,000 schools. For every fighter bomber that we build, it's 10,000 houses. It's electricity for people who need it.
For every fighter we build, we could pump that money into NASA and be on Mars in 5 years.
Infrastructure. Look at how much money. Look at the fact that our freaking roads are crumbling. Our bridges are rated as amongst some of the lowest in the world.
Well, I mean,
and we can't spend some of that money that we spend. I'll tell you what wasteless defense spending is. You spend $1 million on a bomb and you blow it up, that bomb is gone. You spend $1 million upgrading a bridge, you're going to see benefits from that for the next 20 years or more.
Not only are you creating jobs for people who are going to build it,
hundreds of people, and that too. Spending money on infrastructure, it's like Keynesian economics. There are two basic competing economic theories in this country. There's supply-side economics, which says we give money to the top in hopes that it'll trickle down to the bottom, which it never does. And there's Keynesian economics that says if you want to generate economic growth, you fund infrastructure, you fund stuff that leads to economic growth, bridges and roads and the stuff that we used to do, instead of funneling it all into something like the military where it's just wasted. Military spending is freaking cocaine for government. It is. It's the same thing as cocaine. Yeah, you'll have a hell of a night, and it might be fun in the process, but you're going to wake up the next day wishing you had that money for other shit.
That's true.
That's the greatest metaphor I've heard all day.
Indeed,
Thank
indeed.
you. Don't get me started.
Love it. Love it.
What you love?
It's